Mr. David Palan.
Yes.
People are probably wondering what's going on.
Yeah, they're not used to hearing my dulcet tones early in the podcast.
That's right. So we wanted to let people know this show is going to be a little bit different than they're used to.
Yeah.
We're doing live.
We're doing live.
Not actually, since you downloaded this podcast, you know that it's not live.
Not live to you.
We're doing a one time
take.
Straight through one take live recording. What show did they do that on TV where they did a live broadcast? I know
Saturday
they used
Night
to
Live.
do it on all of them. Saturday Night. No, the doctor show. I can't think of the name of it. Anyways, we're doing that today. We're using the new.
So you can't even go back and edit in where you would put in the name of the show that it is.
No, I'm going to try not to. We're going to do this all in one take with my new Rode. What is it called?
Rodecaster Pro.
Rodecaster Pro mixing board. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Shall we begin?
You aren't stuck in traffic. You are traffic.
Let's begin now.
Please get that bicycle-shaped object out of this shop. Oh no, dude. No mix and match here. Black bottoms or full-on kit. Pedal on, bro. Pedal on.
Let's begin now.
Oh, geez. Learn the hard way. Wider is better.
Today is Monday, May 13th, 2019. You just downloaded and are listening to Bike Shop CX. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading, everyone. Today on the show, we're going to have, of course, what are you working on? And our tech topic for the day is going to be Shimano. I almost said GXP, but it's GRX. Shimano GRX. We're going to give a little information about that and then let people decide for themselves. And, of course, listener questions. You guys did awesome this week. We have a ton of listener questions. So, yeah, I think that's enough of my yapping. Let's get on with it. The Bike Shop is open.
That was kind of weird because I heard your voice, but your mouth wasn't moving.
Mr. David Palan,
What is going on?
Nothing. I'm just like, so we should tell people why the show's late.
Bike Shop CX. I have to say that. Now that this new format, I don't get to say that.
We'll have to work that in. We'll have to get better at working that in.
Yeah, another edit that we don't get to do.
But I have to apologize a little bit for the show being late. Basically, my cat, I had to take my cat in, have him, what's the proper word? I know euthanized.
Put down,
whatever the common words are. Yeah, and it just sucks because last show I was talking about him getting better, which he kind of was. But so we were supposed to record like the next day, and I just called up Mr. David Palan. I'm like, you know what? I'm not in the mood to do this.
Yeah. It's hard to be our happy-go-lucky selves when you have those life situations.
Yeah, I mean, for people that don't know, Castle had his own chair in the recording room.
He did.
Right?
He didn't always sit in it. He often sat on one of our laps.
Right.
Castle was the man.
And he had his own chair down in my workshop where he would sit while I was working on bikes. So, it's just hard to adjust to that. So anyways, I just didn't feel up to recording the show the next day, so we had to push it a little bit. And that's why we're here on a Monday.
Today's what I would like to call a double Karen Carpenter day.
Why is that?
A rainy day and a Monday. They always get me down.
I thought you were going to say because you're doing this and then working at the bike shop.
Yeah,
later.
I'm doing that too.
So,
and I did spin class this morning. Today is a full-on bike day.
Yes.
From 5 in the morning till 8 at night.
All about the bikes for Mr. David Palan.
Yeah.
So what else has been going on? Not what are you working on yet, but what else are you doing? Anything? Spin class is going well?
Spin class is going well.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've been working some here and there.
Did you guys ride on Sunday?
We rode. We did
yesterday.
70.
That seems weird that Sunday was yesterday. We don't normally record on Monday.
We did almost 70 miles yesterday. We did the bonus loop at 8, and then a big group joined us in the 10 o'clock loop.
And yesterday we were saying it was the first anniversary date of the Michigan Coast to Coast. Last year at that time we were out doing that. That would have been terrible weather as well.
Yeah.
Actually, the actual ride weather last year wasn't terrible.
It had potential in the morning.
Yeah.
It felt like it was going to be
But the night before was we were camping and it was
freezing rain.
cold.
It was frozen rain on the top of the van.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took me like a full 3 minutes to fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it would have been cold again this year. So
I'll tell you what, we went out through Sharon Hollow yesterday, which is just west. For those that don't know the area, it's just west of Bike Shop CX Central recording studios.
Mm-hmm.
And just as we turned east to head back towards Ann Arbor, we get a face full of wind.
Oof.
And it started to mist. And I'm like, oh. Dan and I looked at each other and we said, hey, do you think Scotty D would take us home in the van?
Is the van running?
Yeah.
I had to take the van in for airbag recall.
Oh.
It was part of that what's the name of that company that made
Tom?
that made the airbags for half the cars in the U.S.
Yeah.
Both our Subarus had to go back at one point.
Yeah.
And so finally the Mercedes put it out for the van, and but it was fixed. So mine was driver's side only too. I didn't have to get them both done. So
so when I'm in the van, I'm not safe now.
No, that's true. The service guy says to me, "Yeah, it's really cool that Mercedes is doing this for free for everybody."
For free?
I'm like, what do you mean?
Wouldn't it be more cool had they used
the van has 30,000 miles on it, man?
Yeah.
They better do it for free. They're the one that put the janky part in there to begin with. I mean, jeez,
for free.
Louise. It's like, yeah, that's really nice of them to,
let me drive around.
to only
at
charge
risk
me
for...
$8 billion for this van and then put in a $350 defective part that they put in for free.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Anyways, so besides that,
Speaking of good customer service,
so yeah, we have to get a little cranky there, but that's all right.
speaking of now two segues, cranky and customer service.
Yes.
My Quark.
What happened?
I told you that it had to go back.
Is this what are you working on?
It could be.
Okay. What
Yeah,
are you
why
working?
not?
Mr. David Palan, I have a question.
Yeah,
what are
tell
you
me.
working on?
I'm reinstalling a crank.
Okay.
The Quark, the numbers. I mean, I'm a pretty powerful guy and everything. But I
Right.
started
Yeah.
getting
I mean, I don't even know
crazy
how.
power
I don't even
numbers.
know how they make a power meter for you.
That's true. It's like 1,400
Right.
watts per
Per
I
pedal
think that was
stroke.
I think that was my 20-minute average or something on one ride. And I thought, what do I do with this? Do I save this data? And I can't do that. And I spoke with the good folks at Quark, and they were great about it. They have a phone app that you can download or upload the data, I guess, from the Quark, communicates with it. I sent them a file, and they took a look at it and said, we don't see anything based on the data that you're showing. It should be okay. And so I thought, okay, maybe it's my Element, the computer that I use, it's not communicating well. As it so happens, they had a download, a firmware update, updated the firmware in the Element. I thought, okay, this will be better. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, well, maybe it's a communication thing between those two. I have an old Garmin that I used to use. I went out for a ride with that. No better.
No, but that would really
that
lead you
kind
to
of
think it's
brings me
got to
back
be
to that
the
Quark.
crank. Yeah.
Right. So when I spoke with them initially, it was right at the edge of the warranty.
Right. I remember you said that.
And then beyond that, obviously it was beyond warranty, but they had said, you got
We'll honor it.
Yeah, we honor it because
Yeah.
you got it. It got word to us ahead of time. Boxed it up, sent to them, and they sent me a new one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
That is awesome.
we talk about it all the time with Quark and with SRAM and stuff. A lot of times this stuff is expensive,
Yeah.
but the customer service and just the standing behind their products.
Yep.
So that's an
not the first
unsolicited. I mean,
person
they're
I've
not
heard
sending
that.
me free stuff,
Right,
By any
right. You
means.
bought the
They could
original
if they
one.
want to. By the way, I'm really intrigued by the Access stuff. If you want to send me a set, I'm building up a bike. I'll just say that. But they,
Yeah, that's good. You're not the first person I've heard that from
Yeah.
with the Quark stuff. If there's the SRAM's been on top of,
Yeah.
making sure it's always working for people. So, well, that's cool.
yeah, no, that's cool. So
Yeah.
a big thank you to Jason out there,
Yeah,
at SRAM,
that's very
taking
cool.
good care of me. So
Yes,
yeah, I noticed that pause.
I was wondering if you were going to say.
You looked at me like, David, you're supposed to ask me a question now.
Next.
What is it that you, sir, are working on?
So I'm working on. Oh, there goes my phone. I'm working on.
I heard that in my ears too.
I've been doing all
hooked to the
my mic.
system?
No, my mic picked it up.
Oh,
I think.
all right.
All kinds of stuff at home lately. I'd
Yeah.
done a tri-bike. Been working on some wheels. But now I have this guy. We're gonna call this person whose wheels I worked on Joe.
Joe.
Yep, by request.
Not his real name.
I did some work on Joe's wheels.
And I have no idea who this Joe is. So, Joe, if you're out there, I have no idea. I mean, Joe, I know you're out there, and I don't know who you are.
So, Joe calls me Saturday night. Well, let me back up a little bit. I'd done work on his wheels, right?
Okay.
He had broken a spoke, but when I got him here, I noticed a rear spoke that he had broken. He brought the set, and I'd noticed that 2 of his front spokes were in really bad shape.
Yeah.
The bladed spokes will sometimes spin right at the junction where it transitions from a bladed spoke to round for the threads.
Yeah.
It'll twist right there.
Yeah.
As the nipples get corroded, someone cranked on it. So I'm like, 2 of your fronts are already twisted. They're in bad shape. I'd just replace those 2. He's like, no problem. So anyways, I'd replace both spokes on both wheels. He took them out. He contacted me right after he rode them the first time. I was like, yeah, they feel great. Everything's awesome. And
Nice.
I'm like, cool.
All right. That's not the end of the story.
So
right
he calls me in a panic Saturday night. I'm having problem. The wheels you worked on. He's we'll just say he's going on a trip where cycling related trip where he's about to do this.
So he's not renting
really
a bike somewhere
serious
else.
climb and descent on these wheels. He's taking his bike with him. So.
All right.
Yeah, I've been getting all these flats with these wheels ever since you worked on them. Da, da, da. I felt like a wobble in the front, and then now I feel it in the rear, and da, da, da. I'm like, cool, no problem, man. That's one of the nice things when I work on people's stuff is I'm just at home. I don't have hours, right? If I'm here, bring it and we'll get it straightened out. I mean, it's Saturday night at 7:00. You know, there's
what better thing could you do on a Saturday
night? There's not many shops that would be open at that hour. I don't think. So, anyways, he brings it over. I look, I'm a little worried. I'm like, man, this is I've done this before. I think everything was cool. So I look at the rear and everything's cool on the bike. I told him bring it on the bike because I was worried. Well, did someone not put the wheel in right? That was my first. But then I'm like, that
sounds
wobble,
like you don't have a lot of faith in Joe.
That wobble. Well, after I tell you the ultimate what happened, you will understand. We're just kidding, Joe. So, the bike, I tell him bring the bike, right? Because I want to see the wheels in the bike. So he does. And the rear wheel is flat at this time. His wife had to come and pick him up. 'Cause he was calling me from the side of the road.
No.
Having just punctured again, he said.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. So he brings it here, and the rear wheel's flat, but I still had it in the stand, and I'm spinning it, and I can see, there's wobble from the tire being flat, but the rim itself looks really straight. So I'm like, all right. So I take it off. It's not rubbing on anything. I take it off, take the tire off, everything off, put it in the stand, spin it. Mm-hmm. It's like straight as can be. Nothing. My concern was maybe those spokes loosened up, caused some kind of warp, caused his tire to be rubbing. But I mean, it would have been seriously rubbing on the frame, and there was nothing that wasn't going on. I knew that as soon as I saw it on the bike.
I mean, with the blowouts would suggest, you can ride
I'm thinking maybe it's
wheel,
or it's hitting the brake though. I was thinking the tire is hitting the brake,
possibly
the brake pad and ripping through. Anyways, I put it on the stand, spin it, it's dead straight.
Yeah.
Certainly within half a millimeter. Yeah. It wasn't as straight as when I'd finished it, but he had ridden it several times, and that's what happens when you ride. Everything will stay perfect if you don't ride. So anyways, it's well within the half millimeter spec, but I kind of touched it up a little bit. And I'm like, dude, all I can think of is just you had a tire failure. Yeah. Because you've got this hole. He had a hole in the sidewall of his tire.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, all I can think of is the bead failed or tire, your tire failed somehow, or it's not rubbing on anything. There's no rub marks anywhere. So I'm like, all right. He's like, all right, I'll put he had bought a new tire. He's like, I'll put this new tire and tube on if you can check out the front. I'm like, yep, sounds good. So he's doing that. I'm going to get the front tire off the wheel off the bike. And he says, boy, it seems like they're making these inner tubes smaller and smaller as time goes by.
I know where this is going.
So I'm like, I stopped right there, and I'm like, what size tube do you have? Double check that for me.
This is, so let's be straight here. This is a 700C wheel.
700C wheel road bike, of course.
700C tire.
700C tire.
Okay.
650 tube.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, I think we found the problem.
Joe.
Yeah, so essentially what happens, and I've had this actually happen with latex tubes before too. They fit so tight. I mean, that thing is like strapped down against your rim, right? And then you put the tire over that.
Maybe he just wanted to set him up tubeless.
And then you put the tire over that, right? That because that thing is so tight and stretched and so tight against that rim. As soon as
it starts out actually below the
bead,
and just pushes that bead
and
up.
It pushes the bead up, and that's where that wobble came from. Is his tire was probably pushed off the bead, and that was what was giving him that wobble. And that's what, of course, while he was getting punctures. I mean, he had these 650s up to 120 psi on a 700C rim.
Yeah.
So it was, an exciting Saturday night. And of course, once he put 700, I had 700s, but I didn't have any with long enough valves.
Oh yeah,
downstairs and at home then. But he just took it home and he sent me a text afterwards. Like, yeah, they work a lot better now. Now that I put 700. And in his defense, he claims he took them off the 700C shelf at the bike shop, and they must have, maybe they stocked them wrong or something.
Could be.
But it clearly said 650 on the box. I'm not.
I think you look at the box. Even I mean, yeah.
Anyways, it was.
Now you got me wondering who this Joe could be.
So that was my Saturday night. But on the other side, though, what I told him is, in a way, it's a relief, right? Now you're going to this ride. You can
be confident.
You can be confident, right? It's not. There's nothing wrong with the wheels or anything like that.
You can't be confident in your ability to read or stuff, but
double check your tube size next time. But anyway, so that's the last bike I worked on. Nice. So there we go. All right, Mr. David Palan.
Yes, sir.
I noticed you brought the travel mug that you almost left here last time.
I know. I had to come back.
You had to come back. Mr. David, he's got this ancient beat up travel mug, right? It's got some miles on it.
Broken in, not beat up.
Broken
patina.
in.
That's patina.
Travel mug, and he came back for that sucker. Yeah. You were like, I need to get
this. Is one that keeps my and here's going to be the answer to your next question. Here's the one that keeps my the full Schleck coffee hot all day.
Yeah. So,
and by the way, did you notice the flip side? You know that on one side it has the
Bike Shop CX
branding. Yep. And on the other side, Beat the Train.
Beat the Train. I was drawing a blank.
Yeah, my Beat the Train from
Beat the Train
Andy
and
Staub.
Bike Shop CX. Yeah. That's good. So for people that are wondering what we're talking about, if you get over to GrimpeurBrothers.com, that is GrimpeurBros.com is spelled COM. And you buy some of the Full Schleck or Hello Cyclocross Friends Espresso.
Hello Cyclocross Friends.
You will not only help support an awesome coffee company.
Yep.
You support the Wide Angle Podium.
That's us.
That's partly us. Yeah. How amazing is that?
That is cool.
And we get a portion of that goes to help our show, Slow Ride. Crosshair Cyclocross TV. Is it Cyclocross TV or Crosshairs TV? Bill, I can never remember.
I don't know.
I'm
it seems
sorry.
like as soon as I remember what it's called,
I forget.
He changes it. Because he's doing the MTB, and I guess that's probably mountain bike heat map now.
Scheichen is all over the mountain bike stuff lately.
He's kicking butt there.
Yeah.
You want to get there. So. And last week was the big kickoff of Molly Herford with Shred Girls.
Yeah.
I know that you've got a couple of those on order.
Yeah, so that's cool. GrimpeurBrothers.com. Get over there. If you don't want to you can go to the wideanglepodium.com website. There's a link if you can't remember Grimpeur Brothers. And
it is tricky to spell until you know.
Yeah, GrimpeurBros.com. And help support the people who are supporting the sport.
Hey, and did you notice?
I've heard that before.
Speaking of people supporting us, Did you notice what I brought with me today?
What'd you bring?
A full 1 pound bag.
Oh, yes.
Full Schleck coffee
for me.
From Dr. Tracy Berman.
Yes.
I had to suffer with that in my car, knowing that it was coming to you, and I had to give it away.
And you could not use it.
And it wasn't for me.
Yep. See, that's what happens.
Secret, because I had to tell you this.
When you re-bleed someone's brakes because they're... Yeah,
because they needed to be rebled.
Because they needed to be rebled. For some reason, a brand new bike needed new brake bleeds. But other than that, I don't know why. But go ahead.
All right, the soundboard is going to come in handy today. I can tell already. Yeah, but in full disclosure, because Dr. T likes honesty, and she'll get all over me if I don't tell people this, because she'll be afraid that people might think less of her.
Okay.
She gave me a bag of coffee too.
Okay. Whew. I'm glad. Because
I was worried. She knows I'd pout if I'm a pretty little princess, and I'd pout if she gave you something
and you didn't.
And I didn't get it. At least a little bag.
All right, Mr. David Palan, we got to go
sir.
on and talk a little bit about tech. We have tons of questions to get to.
I know. We always, as usual, we can have enough to talk about today.
Yeah, right.
We got enough.
So we're going to talk a little bit about our tech topic, as everyone, I'm sure, in the gravel world knows, because it was all over the place. Shimano releases the GRX component. Is it a group set? Kind of. But here's the thing. It works with existing cassettes and chains.
Which is so cool.
Which I love about it. I think that's a great thing. And it comes in at dedicated gravel component group. And this is actually, they've released this, and they're saying new for the 2020 model year.
Just saying that's not available yet. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't come out till fall, so it's like, I mean, I don't know if people are going to be running this on their cross bikes. It seems weird because a lot of the stuff
seems
targeted
cross specific. The RX really kind of covers some of that.
Yeah, I mean, because some of this stuff seems like the ability to run a dropper post, right? That seems targeted at cyclocross racers.
You said that. We talked about that before we started recording.
Gravel racers will use a dropper post?
And we talked about this before. I don't think that many or even cross racers use dropper posts.
Yeah, I agree. Even gravel riders. I shouldn't say racers, because you could use this for any kind of gravel riding that you're doing. So I don't know.
Adventure cyclists,
maybe. But man, that seems
riders.
Like a significant weight thing to pay for something that you're going to use that little.
Right.
In my opinion. I don't know.
But here,
maybe people are going to race
Shimano
cross on it. I don't know.
Kudos to Shimano. It's available.
Right.
You don't have to use it.
Do it. Just like the hydro brake levers.
The cheater brakes. That was going to be one of my things.
I would never want to use those, but like you just said, it's available.
Right.
If people like them, great.
Yep. I mean,
it's there.
We see that every year in the spring classics with Paris-Roubaix.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody always has the little cheater brakes installed.
And that might be where they might be thinking just for Paris-Roubaix. People start seeing enough riders in Paris-Roubaix using it, and guess what?
Yeah.
They're going to want it on their bike.
That's right. And cool thing with that, they sell them individually.
You don't have to run two.
You could put one on the front or one on the back
or both. Yeah, so that's nice. But so the GRX, one of the things about it is it's coming in at two component levels, that 800 and that 600.
Right.
Another cool thing is they are interchangeable, right? You can mix and match them, right? You don't have to buy all the expensive. Like if you want to buy 800 shifters and derailleurs, but you only want to get a 600 crank, you can do that. Right.
And they mix and match with Ultegra and DI2 and Tiagra and 105 as well, I think. All the way through.
Yeah. If it's right, correct. So that's kind of cool. Of course, it's available 1x and 2x. See, to me, that again, I think they're thinking that people are going to use this for cyclocross as well. It's not. They're calling it
clearly.
They're marketing it as gravel specific, but they're really thinking people will use this for cyclocross as well. Because that's why.
I mean, specifically, I'm going to refer to their press release. Be it gravel riding, modern adventure road riding, bike packing, or fulfilling the needs of discerning cyclocross racers.
But it just kind of seems like that is, you come out with this big thing. It's the first ever gravel specific component group, but we're really designed a lot of the stuff in it for cyclocross. Well, then it's not. Is it really then the first
cyclocross
gravel specific component group? If you really designed a lot of it for cyclocross,
Perhaps not.
perhaps not. So whatever. I'll just say this right now, Mr. David. Overall, I think this is really cool.
Yeah,
I
it
would run
sounds like
this-
we're coming across negative.
Yeah,
but
no,
we
I don't mean to be doing that.
We both really like this.
I would
both
ride this
like
stuff in a second. I would love to get a whole GRX 800 tricked out bike
Right.
for sure.
So you can send those two sets to Bike Shop CX.
So we said, it's available Di2, so 1x or 2x, Di2 or mechanical.
Right. That's another very interesting point, right?
Yep.
Just as Campy will never come out with an electronic system, EPS.
Right. Yes.
Shimano is steadfast by 2x.
Not going to come out with a 1x.
Not coming out with a 1x.
Right.
GRX.
Of course. So there you go.
Yeah. And again, that doesn't mean I think they're silly for coming out with it. Just marketing departments. I know
Right.
you all listen to me. Just say, we don't do that right now. We
Yeah.
like our system the way it is right now.
Right now.
I'll never
We'll
do.
never.
I will never ride anything but Canty brakes.
Right.
I have
Apple
news
will
for you.
never make an iPod without a hard drive.
That's right. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? All right, so crank wise, so like we said, you can get it 2x or 1x. The 2x comes, I think, standard is the 4831. It is Holotech 2. People should know what that means because we've talked about that not that long ago. 722 grams for the 2x. The 1x stock comes in a 40 or a 42. Also, Holotech 2, 655 grams. So
170, 172 and a half, and 175.
yeah, the three most standard crank arm lengths. Yep,
Right.
yep. So that's good. But there's one other little thing about the cranks I want to mention. But before I do that, I want to just quickly talk about the front derailleur. Also, Di2 and mechanical, like we said. The front derailleur, if you're going to run a 2-ring system, you have to use this front derailleur with the GRX crank.
After we just said that it's mix and
That
match.
it's mix and match, not completely, because there is a 2.5 millimeter offset for the chain line stuff that
which
getting
allows
into.
for the wider tires.
Wider
that
stuff,
that
right,
makes a lot of
on the
sense.
rear wheel. So if you're going to run the 2x, you have to run the front derailleur. That's the GRX front derailleur.
Correct.
So that's the one caveat there. But okay, that's
And the other tiny little caveat is with the 6100, is that what it's called? The 600, it also comes in a 165 millimeter crank length.
crank arm length.
yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Rear derailleur, you can run with existing road or mountain cassettes. So that's cool. Di2 or mechanical, of course. The short one will run up to like a 30 or a 34 for the short cage.
Right?
Short cage running a 34, which is
It's
just
very
crazy.
interesting, yep.
And the long cage will run a 40 or a 42. 42 is awesome. So,
Which matches SRAM.
which matches SRAM? Yeah. Well, SRAM will run. You can get bigger.
Oh, yeah,
than
you can
that.
get the pie plates on the Eagles,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so you can get where you're running. If you're running a 2x, you're running a 3140 or 3142. I mean,
Right.
that's a low gear.
That's a very low gear.
So
When you're beyond 1-to-1 into the 0.75 to 1 or whatever it is, you're
or even if you're running a 1x, you could be running a 4042 or a 4040 or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's good. Levers. Let's talk about the levers. So a lot of people have been talking about the 18 millimeter, the raising of the brake lever axis.
the pivot point there.
By 18 millimeters. And the purpose of this, you remember why they did this, Mr. David?
I
Powell?
do.
What's that?
It's physics.
Why?
Because now you're making a longer lever, therefore you need less force to force the lever because F equals MA or something like that.
But the specifics that they're thinking of is...
and it's smart.
Yeah.
Riding on the top of the hoods. Because
Right.
you're in a gravel bike, you're rarely down in the drops.
You're not getting the mechanical advantage of pushing at the end of the lever like
You're
you do
using
when
the
you're
top,
in the drops. You're using the top. So to give you more of a mechanical advantage, they raise that up to 18.
Also,
But you got hydraulic brakes.
given to the fact that you are using, on the tops a lot more, they've done a lot of work on the ergonomics
Yeah.
of the levers.
Yeah, they're
right?
longer, I believe, deeper, so you can...
Yep. So you're not going to bounce out off of the hoods.
Right. You're going to have
Riding
a
in the
full
rough
grip
stuff,
on
yep.
full grip around that hood. Yeah. And they did this like anti-slip surface. The one thing I should say, I believe right now on the S-Tech forum, they're saying it's the 18 millimeter lever axis change is only in the DI2.
Right. I did see that.
The only in the DI2 lever, not in the mechanical lever. But the thing you can do with the mechanical lever is you can run the dropper post. You can get, if you're running a 1x,
Okay.
you can get the mechanical front
Shift lever
that will run the dropper post and give you a clean, you don't need an extra button on your bars or whatever. I mean, we've seen this before. This is nothing new, right? We've seen SRAM setups with this before on a double tap lever. So it's nothing new, but it is kind of like we said, it's cool that it's available, that they thought of that ahead of time, and that's there to use if you want to. We mentioned the hydraulic sub brakes. And
by the way,
yeah,
bleeding should not be any more difficult with the sub brakes because it's all a single inline.
It's just inline of the hydraulic hose.
Right.
You just basically have two more places where it connects to something else, and it should just be a straight through shot. Yeah, so that's good. The brake calipers, flat mount, typical, the usual flat mount brakes. There is a lower series of brake caliper though, the 400 series that you can use. I'm sure that'll give you a bit of a price break. Yeah, and
I haven't seen anything. I don't know if it's out yet or not. I haven't seen anything on pricing.
No,
Have you
me
seen
either.
anything? No.
Me either. They're saying still, it's going to come out in the fall. People could, of course, probably be running this by cyclocross season, but really, as far as the gravel season goes, I think we're looking at next year.
Right.
Next spring is really going to be when we start to see a ton of this at gravel races.
Right.
So, along with this, we didn't really mention is a bunch of wheels too. I don't want to get into all the wheels. Basically, wider rims with wider inner diameters for, of course, fatter tires that you can put on your gravel bike.
Sure, right.
Yeah. Should you own something like a Warbird?
That'd be a cool bike to own. I've dreamed about Warbirds.
For people that don't know,
we're going to announce
Mr. Did you? I don't know. Are we going to?
I guess we are.
All
at
right.
this point.
Mr. David Palan loves his Colnago. Isn't that what you have? A Colnago?
Have you ever heard of that bike? I've ridden it a couple of miles. I put a couple miles on that
couple
bike.
miles.
What did we
it.
say the other day? 16,000 miles on that bike.
I bet it's more than that. I would guess more. Or did you figure come up with
It's like 16,000 miles on Strava or whatever, or Training Peaks, wherever I had been. But yeah, there's plenty of rides I do without uploading to that. So yeah.
Right. So Mr. David Palan got a new frame.
He did.
What did you get?
I got the Salsa Warbird. The zebra print.
The zebra print, just like Dr. Tracy Berman.
You saw down to some of the decals on it, just like Dr. Tracy Berman.
You saw hers and went,
I want one.
Man, that thing looks good.
It does.
So, but you're just got the frame and we're building it up, or you're building it up with a bunch of stuff.
That'll be mine will be Force 1. Hers is full on UI2, is that what they call it? The DI2 Altegra.
Yep.
Mine's going to be Force 1.
There you go. It's going to be cool, man. You going to have it done in time for Michigan Coast to Coast?
Oh, I certainly hope so. Yes, I will, because I noticed I had a charge on my credit card that tells me that SRAM has shipped my drivetrain.
Okay, well, that's good.
So
are you going to have it done in time for the Glen Ross Ramble Gamble in Alma?
I certainly hope so.
In Alma Jamble. For people that, if they don't know what we're talking about, June 8th, the Glen Ross, that's not the real name.
It's called the Glen Ramble.
Glen Gamble Ramble. I don't remember.
We're so sorry, JB.
I'm sorry, JB. I'm mangling.
We love you, man.
Just go to Bike Reg. It's on there, right?
Yeah.
June 8th in Alma, Michigan, and you can't miss it.
I will be there. Dr. TB will be there.
And I believe
I think you'll be there.
I'll be there for sure at the first rest stop, which I think everybody hits twice except for the little short loop. They don't hit it at all.
Yeah.
And I think
so. If everyone hits it twice, I can get in there and then
you could
jump the course
and then just go right.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to meet a pro mechanic,
then
you should come to this, because I believe Can I say the name out loud? I think
so.
I think
Should we just call him Joe?
I think our buddy Drew Esherick is coming.
No way. How
from Stan?
How did you arrange that?
Because Drew's a cool guy.
Drew is an amazing guy.
Right. So I think he's coming. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So get on up to that and we'll have a blast. So plus just stop by out of the van so you'll know where to find me. No problem.
And he'll be in the Stands van, I would imagine, no?
Yeah, I think so. I think he is. So there you go. All right, what were we talking about, Mr. David Pan? We finished our GRX.
Did we finish GRX?
Yeah, we finished our
Should we talk about our frustrations with GRX?
What's their frustrations?
We don't know how to refer to them. It's all numbers now.
Oh, there didn't
There's
it
no
doesn't
names.
have like Dura Ace Ultegra.
Right, yeah.
105 is a number.
That's true. I'll grant you that.
But it is kind of weird, right? That it's all these numbers, Shimano with all these numbers, not like naming the group. In a way, though.
But there's no reason to buy top of the line stuff now because people will look at your rear shifter or your rear derailleur and it just says GRX.
Right.
So how can you be so proud of yourself because your rear derailleur says Dura Ace on it?
I mean, that's the only reason you buy the expensive stuff anyways.
Of course. Would you ever see someone go out and like take their Dura Ace crankset and it's beautiful and it says Dura Ace across
Scratch it out
and type in like
Ultegra.
Tiagra? No.
Do you remember back in the day? I remember back in the 80s, people used to get like these custom made frames.
Yep.
And then not get it painted but just rattle can graffiti it, and then clear coat over it so it looked like a piece of junk.
Yep.
So that it wouldn't get stolen.
People used to wrap their bikes with duct tape. Or
so it wouldn't get stolen. They'd have this sick custom made frame with this crappy paint job because it didn't look like anything special.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And now
was the
our
thing.
friends at Squid Bikes, Emily Kachorik and the folks over there, Sonny Reynolds and Hello America, what's up America?
Anthony Clark. Yes.
Are doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's similar.
Really nice.
Except their paint
bikes.
jobs are good.
Their paint jobs are
way
amazing.
better than just
with
some
Squid
rattle
bikes.
can graffiti.
Yeah. But if you want, you can buy through Squid, you can buy the rattle cans.
An unpainted frame and get some spray bike, which works really good. I've actually used it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. That that Bianchi that I repainted? Yeah, I use that. I used the spray bike.
And they match the Bianchi.
Well, they have several.
It's not True Celeste.
Well, so there is not one True Celeste. Bianchi has changed Celeste over the years. Anyways, so if you're going to repaint a Bianchi, it's like, well, which Celeste do you want to choose anyway? Which are you trying to match the era of the frame? Yeah, this is a little bit greener than the original that was on the one that. And this, for people that are going, oh my God, why would you repaint that? It was, the paint was peeling off.
Right.
I mean, it was shot.
And this wasn't a classic rebuild that you wanted to go.
No, I don't.
True
No,
to
this was one of the. I like doing like an older vintage steel frame, high quality steel frame or higher quality steel frame, but put modern stuff on it.
Right.
Because then you get all the thing, in my opinion, the biggest thing that makes older bikes uncomfortable to ride is all the old components, especially the brake levers.
Yeah.
They just jam. You can't get comfortable on those. And then the handlebars are, too tight and you can't, so get rid of all that stuff.
Yep.
Build it comfortably with modern components that shift well, but you still get really good ride characteristics out of that steel frame. Mm-hmm. It is, I love that bike, man.
Yeah, it's a good looking bike.
I did that Bianchi and I did a Bonotto, which aren't really known for high quality frames. This is actually a Bonotto from Mexico, so it's not a real high quality frame, but it's good enough, and it rides wonderfully too. So both of those I painted with spray bike. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, comes out pretty good. So it was fun to do. All right, so Mr. David Palan.
Yes, sir.
Do you have life insurance?
It's funny you should ask.
It's
worrying that you asked.
We're talking about health. We're talking about healthiq.com.
Healthiq.com. Is that health insurance?
It is not health insurance as it sounds.
Is it IQ insurance?
It is life insurance. If you don't have life insurance, or if you're just you're thinking, maybe I should look into my life insurance. Maybe I need an upgrade. Check out healthiq.com. They are they recognize the importance of the cycling crowd and the cycling community, right?
Healthy lifestyles.
The healthy lifestyle that leads to means, hey, people that are into that should get a break on life insurance, and that is what they've done. So if you're into that, if you ever think, man, nobody recognizes this, no, here's a company that is recognizing that if you are in this group, you are a lower risk to them, so they're going to pass on the savings to you. So healthiq.com
healthiq.com,
and you want to go to healthiq.com/WAP for Wide Angle Podium.
WAP.
Do the survey, and you'll see you'll score elite. If you score elite, you probably will score elite.
Right.
It's not real hard to score elite, but if you don't score elite,
I scored elite.
There's your training goal for the next month or two, right? Is to get up to that point, and you'll get a significant savings on life insurance. It's a great thing to have. It's a time to move into being an adult, being adulting, as we like to say, and just do it.
Your loved ones, your dependents, the people that you care about will thank you.
Healthiq.com.
And hopefully you never get to use it.
Yeah. Healthiq.com/WAP. Get over there, check it out. We really appreciate it. They are one of the companies that have been behind this network almost since the beginning. So huge respect for them, and they've been a great help. So go out, give them some love, and show them the power of helping podcast networks.
For sure.
Yeah. So
because these companies, these bigger companies, make decisions based on what.
Sure, it's
what
all
sells,
a numbers game, right? I mean, they're doing it because they think it's important, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, it still has to, they can't go out of business either. Right?
No,
so we need to, get on with that, and and you should have life insurance anyways, as we both do, Mr. David Palan.
We do indeed.
All right, so Mr. David Palan.
Yes, sir.
We closed out at April 30th. We closed out this little thing that we had going on Instagram called the April CX Challenge.
April CX Challenge. We're supposed to get like the scary music here. April CX Challenge.
And we put it out there, and basically for people, if you don't know what the April CX Challenge is that we did.
Shame on you.
It was, I posted at the beginning of the month, I think the day before March ended, a list of 30 topics and corresponding to the 30 days in April, and you took that topic for the day, and you took a cyclocross related, or it didn't have to be real related, but cycling related, and sometimes you could even push it outside of that.
I think the ones that got creative were
even the better ones. Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
But the whole point of it was, one, to get us all thinking about our cyclocross bikes, even though it was April. Two, there was at least one person, maybe even a couple, that said, hey, my friends are all asking me, why am I posting pictures of cyclocross bikes this time of year?
Sure, yeah.
And that's exactly the kind of the point of the whole thing, and it's just really fun. But here's the other thing, Mr. Dave Pound.
Yes.
It is hard to post a picture every day for a month.
It is.
By the time we got to the end of the month, I was like, wow, this is a
stretch.
I'm like having to think about this every single day. So, but that's why a month is a good amount of time to do it, right? Because you're done by the end.
As much as I was done by the end, I kind of miss it.
The next day, you were like, oh man, there's no picture to take today. So yeah, you posted a picture every day on that topic, and then what we decided was we were going to look at overall for the whole month. We were going to pick a winner. Who was the most spirited with the April CX Challenge?
Right. And we never said this is how you win.
No, there
were two clear winners, I think.
I think so. And you didn't have to post every day to win, but it was certainly going to help if you posted every single day on every single topic. Yeah. And it was also going to help if you posted every topic on the day of the topic.
Right.
You could go back and catch up, and that you could certainly still win by doing that. But the people I think that moved to the top for us, and what we were looking at, who was going to win, were people that were posting every day, right on schedule with the topic sheet,
right,
and posted a good picture. And then the other thing was, what did they do for their pictures? It's like some people, the point of this was just to get more pictures out there. And we ended up with 625 pictures.
Wow, 625.
So if you go right now to hashtag April CX Challenge, you can see all 620. I was thinking if we got half of that, if we got 300 pictures, that'd be 10 a day.
That'd be amazing.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Right. And we ended up getting over double that. So very, very happy. And thank you everybody
Everyone
that participated. It was just awesome. Awesome watching those pictures.
So
come
should we
through
start
every
with
morning.
like some honorable mentions out there?
So,
some of the really cool ones.
Yeah, let's do that. So honorable mentions. Go ahead.
Killer Sim.
Killer Sim.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. I was trying to think of what pictures did they put?
Yeah. No, she of course, that's what she does. She's a graphic designer, and in the beginning I'm thinking this girl has it. Like we might as well. There's some question of like she has an association with the wide angle podium, and she's designed a lot of the logos for the beautiful artwork.
Yes.
Dr. Tracy Berman actually is one of her Patreon customers and regularly gets her artwork.
I just bought
really
two of her
cool.
prints the other day, 2 cat prints that she did.
So that's Alex.
Yeah, Alex had some really cool at the beginning of the month, really cool stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely an honorable mention to her. The other person I think we should mention as honorable mention is Element Cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Brett
is not only is he a super nice guy, classy guy, but his level of just almost above and beyond
his
so many
pictures
other
were
people.
almost all set picture, like things he had taken time to stage. He staged the pictures that he took, so very cool.
And
Brett,
also a lot of creative stuff.
Yeah,
like it wasn't,
he wasn't just doing the obvious thing, right? He was working it. So yeah, Brett. In all honesty, one of the main reasons we didn't pick you as a winner is because you're really kind of already part
family.
You're part of the family, right? And dude, if you want to be on the show, just let me know when you want to be on. Brett has already been on the show. Remember, we talked to him at Reno Nats. We talked to
him regularly.
He came and talked and was on the show. So Brett, you can be on the show anytime you want.
Give us a call, Brett.
So, all right, who else is honorable mention, Mr. David Palan?
In creativity and just staying on top of it, almost the day to day. Craig North.
Craig North was right there.
Yeah,
it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, he's basically family, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Craig's been on the show before. I think when we had Drew Delman on way back in the day. But you're right. He was on top of it every single day. I don't think if he did miss a day, he made it up and caught back up.
Yeah.
So that he, like you said, he was right there every time. Who else?
And again, early on, and I'm thinking she's got it.
Yep.
Sarah Smith.
Yes. Yep. Her pictures were
amazing.
She was definitely a front runner at the beginning, for sure. And then she dropped off a little bit.
Yeah, we missed her.
That's all right. That's all right.
We were disappointed.
The pictures she did add were awesome. An awesome part of the whole thing. So that was really cool.
By all means.
All right.
I guess that brings us to.
Do we have any other honorable mention, or do you want to say who we're going to pick for winners?
Let's go to it.
Okay, so notice we're saying, I don't know if people notice, we're saying winners because we couldn't decide between these two people.
Correct.
So what we're going to do is they're both going to be winners. Equal winners.
Everybody's a winner.
One male, one female.
Right.
And
equal payout.
They're both going to get a chance to come on the show. We just decided.
Right.
And separate shows. They're not. It's not like they have to share. We'll just set up a separate time with each one of them and they'll be on. So there we go.
And we're assuming that they're going to want to be on.
Right. And if they don't want to be on, that's fine.
Because we haven't told them yet. We're all going to find out.
We're all going to find out right now. But yeah, if they don't want to be on, that is completely fine. And that's okay. We'll just make fun of you.
Because it's intimidating as heck.
We'll just make fun of you afterwards. Right, yeah. So no, on air. So, all right, Mr. David Palan, do you want to give the first winner?
I will.
Pick one. You can do either one.
I'm going to go with former collegiate swimmer Michelle Hance.
Yay.
And that's not like I chose one and you chose one. We actually agreed.
We both, I thought this was going to be a long process, and we both sat down like, all right, to start it out, let's just see who we both think, and we both picked these two names. So,
Michelle, we will be getting in touch with you, or you can get in touch with us. We know where you live.
Yep.
You moved, but we know where you live. Yeah, I'm assuming you didn't move to get away from us, knowing where you lived. Used to race and ride with the Midwest Devo group. Super, super nice person.
So what are some of the reasons we picked Michelle? Is she started out strong. I remember with the very first day was show off your colors.
Yep.
And she did the thing with her triple tan line on her arm.
Exactly.
That was awesome.
Yep.
That was awesome. That was like a strong start right there.
That was the one that said, this isn't going to be the obvious, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And she had great pictures with the mud topic. I mean, the sticky topic, of course, with the goo pictures. Yeah, just all good stuff. I mean, you could tell she just has a blast riding her bike, especially her cyclocross bike. So
Yeah, and she's been riding a ton of gravel now and cross.
And
Always
she hit every
with a
single
smile.
day.
Yep.
She was on every single day. Did it that day. Sometimes later in the day because she lives on the West Coast, I believe now. So,
She does.
But that's fine. She got every single one in every day. So,
And she's a cat person, and I knew you would like
and
that.
she likes cats. So yeah, she was a clear front runner ever since about halfway, and she just kept it up and was great. So, all right. Well, I'll say the second winner that we have,
Yes.
this is a guy, and this is, can we say his name or should we just say his handle? If you go to his handle, you can see his name anyway,
Yeah.
so I don't think it matters. That is Matt Henderson, Mr. Hendersgram. Matt works in the bike industry.
Yes, sir.
I met Matt at the Alma GP last year.
He was set up next to you with that hat.
He did the camping thing last year at the
Yeah.
Alma GP, which I wish I could have done. But I felt a little bad because I was pulling in right next to him like early in the morning, and he
Laying
was
on
in
the
that
horn.
tent.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. But it was cool. Yeah, he recognized the van and came over, got a picture and stuff. So but again, he just hit every single day. Really creative pictures. Some of his stuff like the what was the one? The day 18 least favorite maintenance with all the parts on
It was like
on
the Chinese
table.
e-bike parts. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was really cool.
Oh, and
And
the mud picture with I don't even remember who it was, but someone sliding down face first.
yes,
Down
yes.
the Play Sports background.
And the tread picture where he put up his track lacrosse bike that had the tire clearance of about 0.1 millimeter,
That's enough, isn't it?
which is very cool.
Yeah, I mean
Very
that's I always talk about like if it's a rainy day that's too close. That one, if it's a high humidity day, that tire's gonna
that
rub.
tire's gonna rub. So yeah, he just, like I said, he just killed it every single day. Didn't miss a day, I don't think, and was just really, really putting up good. He was one of the ones that every day I was like, oh, I'm curious
Yeah.
to see what he's going to post today. So
Often with his Alma GP branded stuff. So
Yeah.
there you go, JB.
I think he's from the Chicago area, so
Yep.
he gets over to Michigan. I think he's coming again this year. So
I believe so.
It'll be great. Both of those winners, Michelle and Matt, will be great people to have on the show. So you guys, we'll try and reach out to you. I'll send you messages on Instagram, and we'll set something up, and you guys can come on the show, phone call. We can do phone calls now with our new fancy board, or
just come over.
we can Skype, or if Matt, if you're around Matt and you're going to be in Michigan and you want to drive to Manchester, you are welcome to come in studio.
And that's not to say, Michelle, you can't.
You can fly
Come on
here
in.
too if you
Yeah.
want. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to pay for your flight, but
No, I think our whole travel budget has been shot.
yeah, we've used up our travel budget for the year already. So
And for those of you considering donations to Wide Angle Podium,
yeah.
we don't have a travel budget.
No.
It comes from our own pockets.
Our travel budget is, yes, our own pocket. So there you go. All right. Well, that was amazing. That was so much fun. It was more fun than I even thought it was going to be when I first did it.
Yeah.
We'll do another one probably next April is what I'm thinking,
Yeah, it'd be something to look forward to every year.
So people can
Put it on your calendar
people
now.
can save up pictures, but they don't know the topics will not be the same.
There you go.
We're going to come up with different, more...
Maybe I get to be involved this
more
time.
creative. Mr. David Palan didn't even get to pick the topics. I just decided to do this, thought of it, decided to do it, and threw it out there in an hour.
And again, it was amazing.
So we'll do it next year. And thank you to everybody that participated. Even if you just put up one picture, it was just great and a lot of fun. And we really, really enjoyed it. So thank you again.
Indeed.
All right, Mr. David Palan, we are we're at that part of the show where we do
The
what is
fun
called
part of the show.
where we do what is called questions.
I thought we called it questions and answers. Now we just call it
We
questions.
can just call it questions.
Questions and random talking.
So here's the deal, everybody. We've got a ton of questions in this past week, which is awesome. And so, David, if people want to send a question, where do they send it to?
bikeshopshow at gmail.com.
That's Bike Shop. Maybe that should be one of our sound drops.
Bikeshopshow at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. So, yeah, but keep sending tech questions. But here's the deal. We're not going to be able to do all of these today. We're already pushing an hour in time. So, we're going to do as many as we can. We'll probably do a few. If you don't hear your question and you submitted one, that's okay. We're going to push some of these to next time.
Sure.
Get those in. I don't think we'll have as big a week, 2 weeks, 2 shows in a row, because this time of year we usually don't. I think it was just one of those things. If we do, we'll just, if we have to have a special show that is all questions, we'll do that.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe then the next show will be all answers.
Yeah. There you go. So, all right, Mr. David Pound, do you want to start us out?
I do.
All right.
Hello there, gentlemen.
This is from Mike, by the way.
Yes. Payment Mike.
Payment Mike.
With regards to the headset, have 2 questions. Oh, with regards to the headsets, I have 2 questions,
Yes.
I believe. Yes.
Yep.
I would like to support my local bike shop because they're good to me. However, the markup of bearings is, well, high. Do you recommend going to a bearing distributor and picking some up there?
Yes. Okay.
Second question. How tight do you attach the fork to the headset steer tube? When we pack our bikes to head south for a vacation, taking the handlebars off causes the steer tube, or is it the fork, to drop slightly out of the headset, thus having me to put it back in. I either tighten the bolt too much or too little. Thanks in advance for your help. Love the info and the banter. Mike from the Great White North.
P.S.
Why don't you say if you have a complaint, send it to the Slow Rides email address?
I think we're going to start.
Doing that. Yeah.
All right. So, Mike, bearing distributors are great. I mean, if you want to go and get bearings straight from them, that's awesome. That's fine. I mean, it's...
And most bearings on the bike are not bike specific.
No, they're just standard, sealed bearings that you can get. You might even be able to get slightly better ones than the bike shop would have. They're not crazy expensive when you get them from distributors. And even I bought some really cheap. They were going in a cheap wheel, but it had sealed bearings. So it was very inexpensive. I think I bought a pack of bearings for it. They were $10. Right.
Wow. And that was retail.
That was retail from a bearing place, though.
Yeah.
And I was like, these aren't going to last. So and it's gone through 2 seasons.
Nice.
I spent $1 a piece on these bearings. They weren't for my bike; they were for someone else's bike, and they didn't have any funds.
Yeah.
And they've gotten 2 seasons out of those bearings, and I looked at them this year, and they're still like butter.
Like butter.
So I'm like, hey, it's hard to argue with that,
Yeah.
So I think you can upgrade to slightly. Bearing manufacturers might have slightly upgrade without having to go all the way to full ceramic. A lot of times a shop will have one steel bearing choice and then ceramic, and that's all you get. Whereas a bearing manufacturer might have multiple steel choices at different grades of quality.
In general, and actually this question came to me at the bike shop the other day. Like, why don't I just go to the hardware store and get them? And often that's not a bad choice.
Yeah, I mean, just pay attention to what you're getting, right?
Yep.
Make sure what you're getting is a decent bearing that you're getting. You don't want some junk that's, who knows where, and the balls aren't even round. Look at the grading, what's the quality grading that they have. Make sure you're getting good. At least, I think you want to, is it a 25 that's like considered the minimum for bikes? I think off the top of my head, I can't remember for sure. So, but yeah, there you go. Or maybe it's 200. I can't remember. I'd have to look that up.
It starts with 2.
His other question, how tight to attach the fork to the headset / steer tube?
And here's one of those things where I always say refer to the manufacturers, get the torque specs. I don't know that I've seen torque specs. I think this is, in a lot of ways, kind of like when you're doing the bearings in a wheel. It's a feel. It really is
here's the thing.
Feel.
Here's the thing.
But tell me the truth.
The very first ever bike shop show that I did was on headset adjustment.
This is pre-Mr. David Palan days.
This is pre-Mr. David Palan days. And I
was talking into the mic on a laptop.
I've done it again. Yeah, it was me sitting in the chair in my living room. And I've done it again since then. But so when you are setting up your headset, there's a whole process to. You're talking about the stem cap, right? That is basically all you are setting there is a preload. There is no torque spec for your stem cap. The stem cap needs to be as tight as it needs to be for your headset to stay together and to not knock. So it's impossible to put a torque spec for that because who knows what that is.
Sure.
As things wear, it's going to go up, right? You're going to have to turn it more. There's a whole series of setup for that where you get it to a certain tightness, you check it for knock. If you still feel knock, you re-loosen everything. Turn it, you know how the hex bolt on the top of a stem cap, you got a hex bolt, and each point on that hex bolt is 1/6 of a turn then, right?
Because there's six
of them.
Hexagon.
And you turn it so that one point moves up to where the previous point was. So you're turning it 1/6 of a turn.
Right, yeah.
You retighten everything back, you check it, and again for knock.
Yeah. So
you
let me
keep
ask you a
doing
question.
that. You're
knock?
you're basically sneaking up on the tightness,
right.
1/6 of a turn at a time until that knock goes away. Then you can go pre-ride it, right? Make sure that knock is gone, and then if it is, you're good to go. Yeah. If it is still there on the pre-ride, then you come back and you do the whole thing. And it's a long, drawn-out process because this whole time you have to torque the stem bolts, right? So you tighten it by 1/6, torque the stem bolts back down,
right?
Check it. If it's knocking, you got to undo the stem bolts. Tighten it 1/6, retorque the stem bolts, check it again. And you're sneaking up. You don't want your headset to be over tight, but you want it to be tight enough. So that's the process to do that whole thing. So there is no how tight do you do it. You do it as tight as it needs to be.
As tight as it needs to be.
When you're taking it apart, if you're having problems with that falling off, the thing is you got to keep up pressure on the fork. I think you mentioned the straps the other day. Keep up pressure on the fork. Go to a bike shop and ask them if they have a cardboard insert for a steer tube that came off some bike that they put together. They throw these things out by the dozens, right? They come in every bike that comes in a box that they've got sitting on the floor. There's a little cardboard, not everyone, most bikes have a cardboard spacer that fills the gap where the stem usually is. And the stem is then spun around so that it fits in the box. Right. And this cardboard spacer is acting like the stem to keep everything together. And they usually take those off and toss them, right?
They do.
As soon as they put the stem on. And those are great for traveling, right? So if you're going to travel and you take your handlebars off, you can pop that cardboard spacer on, tighten your stem cap, and that'll hold pressure on your headset so that it won't be coming apart on you.
Right.
And that's the best way to do it. Or get an old stem and put if you have to take the handlebars completely off, then you can just put an old stem on, and that'll work too. So there you go.
Yep. Or
yes.
Take the bars off and spin the stem.
Just spin the stem sideways.
180 degrees.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But then you got to take the bars off. So
it's always something.
It's always something. Dang it. All right. Thanks for the question, Mike. We'll move on. So this is from Dave. Dave says, hi. And that's it. Dave, come on.
Dave, how long have you been viewing?
All right. No, just kidding, Dave. Dave says, hi, picked up some tubular wheels and tires for my part-time CX machine, part-time commuter bike to make switching over quicker than faffing with changing tires. Dave is from across the pond, I'm suspecting, because he's spelling tires with a Y and he just used faffing.
I want to incorporate faffing into more of the things I talk about.
And he signs off with cheers. So he's either Australia or the UK.
He doesn't tell us, but yeah.
No, he does.
So you can write back to us. Let us know.
I think
bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
He says, I need to clean up my rims and get gluing. He is excited, man. He's like, my question is, how soon is too soon? First race will be in September time in the UK. So if I do them now, is that premature? Cheers, Dave.
No.
Well, okay, so here's what you want to do. I think you should glue them as close to the start of the season as you have comfortably enough time to do. Okay? Now is a little bit premature. It's not crazy, though. It wouldn't be a huge deal. But here's the thing. When we talk about gluing tubulars, you can ride a newly glued tire in as little as 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours. It's considered rideable, right? So it is possible if you roll a tire on a Saturday race and you get it glued real quick overnight, it can be okay for the next day, Sunday's race. but that reaches about, I think it's 75 to 80% drying of the glue.
Right.
For the glue to get to 100% dry, the
4
general
months,
rule,
5 months.
the idea is with the research that Chip Howitt, is 100 hours. So 4 days, essentially. So what you want to do is make sure you at least have that much time, right? If you've got all this time preseason, don't wait till the night before and think, well, I'll just get in 8 hours of drying time and I'll be fine. Technically, that would be fine. And if you get in some kind of pinch and that's what you have to do, that's not incorrect or wrong. But I would give myself enough time so that I can have 100 hours of dry time on my tires.
Right.
And then enough time to test ride those tires. And then enough time to re-glue them if I had to, because on the test ride something happened.
Okay.
So you can do it several ways. You can say, okay, I'm going to glue these, wait 2 days, they're considered rideable, go ride them, make sure everything is okay. If it is, I just let them continue to dry and now I'm good.
Sure.
Or you can say, I'm going to let them dry for the full 100 hours before I ride them, and then have a whole nother week before my first race in case I had to re-glue them again.
Right.
So I think you can push it as far as, for the pro mechanics, August is usually the tubular glue drying month. Right. Now, they start at the beginning of August because they've got 7,000 wheels to glue before cross season starts. So they're gluing. I mean, if you follow any of these guys or women on on Instagram or anything, you'll see they got glue on tires just hanging, rows of them.
Yeah.
So they're starting a little bit earlier. But if you're just gluing your stuff for your bike, I think you can push it as far as second week in August, giving yourself 2 weeks. That's 2 full 4-day glue or dry periods with a test ride in between. And by doing that, you're going to be good. So there you go, Dave.
So now, Dave, I'll tell you the true answer.
Oh, jeez.
Because here he goes again, all Mr. Pro Mechanic on you. Just glue the tires. You're obviously excited about it. You don't have to lose sleep between now and the second week of August when you see the first star come up across the meridian. Just glue the tires now. Enjoy your life. Enjoy them. Glue them now. And they may not glue up the way you wanted them to. They may not ride the way you want them to.
Yeah.
You may have a couple of sets where this felt okay, but not so good. Your commute will be dreamy on a set of tubulars.
Yes.
I don't hear often about guys riding tubulars for their commute. Make sure you get some pit stop from Victoria, by the way, if you're going to do that.
Good stuff.
That's like emergency tire sealant on the road kind of stuff. But just enjoy it. Don't overthink it.
I'm trying to answer the spirit of Dave's question, and Mr. David Palan has to go there to like the... I'm supposed to be the sole rider.
I was going to say, it's like, you're like riding with a computer right there. You got to do it at this time frame and this power and this. No, just do it. Just enjoy it. Ride bikes. Have fun.
All right. Well, Dave,
don't overthink.
I hope we answered your question in one way or the other.
The good news is, Dave, you can do anything you want now.
Right, now you can All right, let's move on, Mr.
So if
David
Dave doesn't hurt himself, then we know we've done it right.
I think we we have another question from another Dave. This is Gravel Dave in Connecticut. Hit us, Mr. David Palan.
Hey, Scotty D and Mr. David P. I've got a rear hub I use on gravel that's, gravelly.
A rear road hub, yes.
It's a pretty standard Bitex hub with 2 cartridge bearings in main shell plus 2 in the free hub driver. I've got the tools and skills to extract.
I have a special set of skills. He's like Liam Neeson. I have a special set of skills.
I got them downstairs. Come over, I'll show you my skills.
I'm going to get that as a sound drop.
There you go.
Okay.
To extract and press in replacements. But just a couple of questions. Strategy questions.
All right, hit us.
1. Worth it to try to pry off seals and overhaul a cartridge bearing or just replace with new? Don't answer yet.
I was about to.
I knew you were. 2, always replace all 4 when doing, or if some of 4 okay, leave them be for now. You could have been more expanding. We don't charge by the word there, by the way. I'm just
you
saying.
skipped over. He said feel okay. You just skipped over it.
If 4 feel okay.
If some of 4 feel okay, leave them for now. Anyways.
Thanks.
All right.
Gravel Dave in Connecticut.
Gravel Dave.
We love
he's
Connecticut, by
emailed
the
us
way.
before. We like Gravel Dave and Connecticut.
Yeah.
So, all right. Do you want to answer those, Mr. David Mellon? What do you think?
You know, it's kind of, we just talked about that, not a particularly expensive part. You can, and I have had to when I was having bottom bracket issues.
Yeah.
You can pull out the little rubber pieces and
The seal
the
part.
seal. Thank you.
And that was for a
And-
specific reason.
Yeah,
though. Yeah.
But truthfully, you have the skills.
In general.
show them off.
Yeah. In general, you just don't usually try and overhaul those unless it's, like you just discovered your headset is seized and I'm going out for a ride in 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe I'll try and do that, get enough in there to make it kind of work for
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Or something like that. That's a little bit different, but basically just replace them with new.
Yeah, and then should you do all four? You may not have to do all four.
Yeah,
but
thing,
again,
I would
if you
do
have
them.
them, just do them.
I think it's basically, I would look at it as sets of two, right?
Right.
If one of the two free hub body need to be replaced, then replace both of those. If one of the two hub shell bearings need to be replaced, then replace both of those. But I don't think you have to do all four. If one of the free hub bearings needs to be replaced, you don't have to replace the hub shell bearings as well. So
Correct.
I would kind of view it as sets of two. I would always replace either one set of two. It could be a case where they all need to be replaced at one time. That's probably not the case, but that could happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah,
But you
that's
got
how I
it
would
apart. You get the whole thing apart. Just replace them both. And if one
Yeah,
of them's bad,
absolutely.
chances are the other one's going to go bad.
Yes.
Kind of like, do you notice I had a headlight out on my car?
I did
You
not.
know, when you open the hood and you take the cowling off and have to do all of it, just replace them both.
Yeah, save the
Yeah.
effort. So,
But then I always wonder, why does one headlight go out and not the other? They're used the same amount of time.
Right.
One doesn't get more use than the other.
It's just one of those mysteries.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right. I'll stick to bikes.
All right, I'm going to read the next one. This is from Nate. He says, "Dear wielder of the wheels and king of the canties."
You, I think, are the wielder of the wheels.
I think so. Yes. So Nate goes on, "I just converted a 91 stump jumper to a 1x10 drop bar gravel all-purpose bike.
The one bike that does it all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is so cool. It is riding great, except for the stopping power of the canties. Canty
Wait
stop.
a minute. I'm sorry, but that's
the
a
whole point.
contradiction. That's such a contradiction. You can't use stopping power in the same sentence with
canty.
canty brakes.
All right. When the bike is in the stand, the brakes stop on a dime, but when I am on it, they don't. Okay. For instance, this is a common thing. For instance, I can be on a slight decline and they really don't stop. Just slow me down until I put my feet down or run into something.
There's a reason why canty brakes are called the Flintstones of brakes.
Right. There is no grit on the pads or the wheels. Pads are in good shape and cables are new. I'm using Tektro brake levers that came off a cross-check, and the canties are in solid shape. What is going on? Love the show and have shared it with many friends in Atlanta, Georgia. Keep it up, Nate.
Thank you, Nate. And hopefully they're still your friends.
Yeah, right. They're not like, oh, God, those guys suck.
Yeah. So the answer is, those are canty brakes.
Those are candy brakes? No. Candy should stop better than that. I mean, so there's a lot of possible things going on here, Nate. One, make sure they are set up correctly, right? Make sure your cradle that cradles your transition cable is in the proper position.
Right.
All right. It's not too high, too low. It's where it should be. In general, your front one should be about at the place where the fork arcs at the fork crown. And the rear should be about the same distance from the tire that the front one is. So that's a generality. I don't want people to start emailing me, well, mine are supposed to be here. Make sure your pads are adjusted correctly. My big suspicion, I know, Nate, that you say your pads are in good shape, but that's where I'm starting to doubt what's going on.
Yeah, because sometimes they get hard.
They might look fine. They might not have any wear
Right.
on them, right? They might still be thick,
Mm-hmm.
but I would bet they are glazed.
Yeah.
And you could, if you want
Glazing, good for donuts.
bad for brake pads. If you want to see if they're glazed, I would only do this on a test basis. You can file down the surface with a file, right? And get all that. You got to file quite a bit, more than you think you'll need to, and get to where that rubber might still be soft in the center, and then retry them. If that solves it, then go out and get new brake pads and install the new brake pads. Only do this as a test ride.
Don't just file
Don't
on
go
your
out and
brakes.
bust down some trail on this. I'm talking in a parking lot, and if that fixes it, then you know it was the pads and they were glazed.
Right.
The other thing is, check your rim surface where the brake pads make contact. Make sure your rims are not worn out. They might be really thin, too thin. They might also be glazed. You can take a real light sandpaper and just scratch it along to kind of break up any glazing that might be on those, and check that. I suspect that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
Check your brake adjustment and check those two surfaces. I'm really suspect of your brake pads.
Nate, it's your friends in Georgia. They're like, oh, he made us listen to this podcast. What can we do?
Put more Vaseline on his brakes.
They went, and the reason why the bike looks so good is they waxed everything, including your brake surfaces. Yeah. So we're sorry. We're sorry about that, Nate.
But yeah, Nate, let us know if anything solves it, or if you do solve this problem, because I guarantee you're not the only one with this problem.
Right.
So, all right.
So
Mr.
we should have
Dave,
called this the Dave Show. Now that I think about it,
the
right?
Dave Show,
Yeah.
because we have another Dave.
Another Dave.
All right.
Here
we
go.
know this Dave.
We do.
I've
We
met
know a
this
few
Dave.
Daves.
Dave actually sent us this question a while ago, and I forgot it. So sorry, Dave. This is, of course, Dave.
This seems to be a recurring theme, Mr. Scotty D.
All right, hit us, Mr. David Pound.
The show continues to be great. I thought of the Wide Angle Podium Network just a few weeks ago when I paid my life insurance bill from
Look at that.
Health IQ.
Health IQ.
I'm
Thanks,
still
Dave.
really happy to have worked with them for life insurance.
Wow, it's like its own separate advertisement.
Indeed. On the BB show, there was a question about matching tires. You guys provided a good answer, but
I didn't like it.
did you ever notice that when you use the word but, everything that comes before it is negated, right? I really like your show, but
Okay.
Canty brakes are great, but
they don't stop.
Oh, where was I?
But there
But
was one more part of it.
that I feel that you left out.
Oh, here it comes.
When
God,
it
Dave.
comes to race bike versus pit bike versus spare wheel set, a racer does want matching tires between bikes.
Go ahead.
I surely don't want to come into the pit, change bikes, and have different tires than are on my race bike. Okay. Hold.
Go ahead.
Don't make me play the Grumpy song again.
Well, I responded to Dave on an email. I'm like, this is going to bring up a lot of good conversation. I can't wait to talk about this.
It's perfectly okay to have different styles and brands of tires front and rear, but we probably want them to match across our race bikes, i.e. both race and pit bikes have a PDX on the front and a chicane on the rear, etc.
Dave,
I think we're going to have the same answer on this one.
So,
Surprisingly.
that is sometimes the case.
Yeah.
But
What
not
in the case
always.
where you have a muddy race
Yeah.
from the start to pit one
Exactly.
and a dry race from...
Let me give you an example.
Give me an example.
2 years ago in Cincy, actually, it was 3 years ago in Cincy. It was the 2016 year at Cincy.
In my day.
The Australians were here, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember or not, but that race, the skies opened up while they just finished call up.
Yeah.
And boom, just buckets come down for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I didn't know Sky was racing in cyclocross.
We had set up their bikes with a Griffo, both front and rear,
Yeah.
on their start bikes, and the pit bikes with Limas, front and rear.
Yeah.
Guess what? Guess who, as soon as that race started, it was like a bomb went off in the pit. Every single team, except for us, was scrambling with wheels everywhere. And what were we doing? We're standing there watching them, going, we're ready. They come in, first lap, they come through the pit the first time, guess what? They change bikes right to the mud tires,
Right.
and off they go. So there's a perfect example where you have the race bike with one tread and the pit bike with another.
This is where it's so important to have 41 and a half sets of wheels.
Right. But this happens over and over again in races, right? There's oftentimes where you're not really sure. It might not, that was an unusual case where it happened right away and it was obvious, right? But it might not happen that quickly. There were many, many times where we would have one bike set up with one tread that they were going to start on. As long as the rider knows it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
When they come through, if they're like, say you're going Griffo to Limas like we had at that time, right? And they come through the pit and they've done, say, 2 laps, right? And they're like, okay, the Griffo is working. All they do is come through the pit and say, switch the pit bike to Griffos.
Yeah.
And guess what? In the next half lap, we'll have Griffos back on it.
Right.
So there are often times in a race where you have 2 different treads on the race bike and the pit bike waiting to see, because pre-ride is great. We all know pre-ride is very important. It's not the same as what's going to happen when you race. And conditions can even change between pre-ride and race time. So it happens many, many times where the 2 bikes are set up differently. And it happens just as many times where they come in, they want the mud tires, and they switch it. This happened to Tyler last year. We had mud tires on one bike, mid tread on another bike. He came in, he wanted the mud tread. I think it was at Cincy too. In fact, he came in, he wanted the mud treads. So he took that and was like, switch this, you know? And so we switched them. So that happens over and over again. So as long as the rider knows what is where and can signal you and you know what to switch it to, that can happen. Where
so going back to Dave, and I don't know what level Dave races, this comes back to, and we talk about it all the time, the pro mechanic versus the weekend racer that has 2 bikes. If he does.
If you only have 2 set of wheels, you're going to have what you have, and they're probably not going to be the same.
Right.
So
that's true as well. But if you can have matching stuff and you say this is a Griffo course, you may indeed want the same on both bikes.
Absolutely.
But when you have the options to come in and pit stop NASCAR style and pull stuff off, throw different stuff on, it's a real advantage.
Yeah. So that does happen, Dave. I hear what you're saying. In general, you're going to want the same. But and if the course is consistent and it's like you said, Mr. David Palan, it's clear that a Griffo is the tire of choice or an MXP is the tire of choice today, then yes, we're going to set up both bikes with MXP front and rear or whatever the setup is. It might be PDX front, MXP rear, whatever. We're going to do them the same in general. But not always. So, all right. Good question, Dave. I'm so glad you sent that in.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Let's do one more. Mr. David Palan?
Do you want to do one more or 2 more?
We'll do one.
I'm looking here. We have a lot of questions.
We have a lot of questions. I know. So we're going to do the next one from Russ. Russ has emailed us many times. It's kind of a long one, so we're going to get to it. He says, hey, Scotty D and Mr. David Palan. I just finished listening to the latest episode over torque wrenches. I know I'm a little slow.
That's okay. We like it anyway.
But I have a good question. I was expanding my workbench to have space for future projects and working with my trusted pro mechanic friend, Gonzo at Mellow Johnny's. We'll give him a shout out.
Sure.
Mellow Johnny's Fort Worth. And figuring out what tools I should add to it. Being an engineer, I have only one question about torque wrenches.
Okay, wait a minute. He's an engineer. He has more than one question.
Yeah, come on.
Donut Endurance. We know you.
I mean, this is the 17th question he sent us.
We love you, Russ, man. No, Russ is
awesome.
One of our viewers that's always
on Twitter.
On.
And so we love you, Russ. All right, at least only one theme of questions.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay, how do I know when my torque wrench is out of spec, and what is the best way to get it tested / recalibrated? Right now, I have the Park Tool TW5.2. One way you can just test, I'm just going to answer this as we go because otherwise we'll get lost. One way you can do to just get a ballpark idea, this is not this is not how you calibrate a torque wrench,
right?
But you can certainly get an idea, is hook up 2 torque wrenches together, right? If they're both set at whatever, they should click very close to the same time, right?
Well, yeah.
If you have one that you know is good, like a brand new one,
right?
And one that you're wondering about, and it clicks way out of alignment with the new one,
right?
It probably needs to be sent in to be calibrated. So
I used to wait, and when you start breaking bolts off,
then then think it might be the torque wrench.
May be the torque wrench.
Yeah, that's a good way too. Well,
Yeah,
no.
no.
So it's fine to just give
That's
you
a really smart way to do it.
ballpark
Yeah.
idea of does this thing need to be calibrated. This is also a good way. Calvin Jones told me this thing too with your spoke tensiometer, the Park spoke tensiometer.
Yeah.
He's like, when you first get it, it's calibrated.
Yep.
When you first get it, take an old wheel that you have somewhere, set up a tension right on the spoke. He's like, and he recommended, he's like, take all the hub guts out of it so it cannot be ridden. Right?
So it won't change.
It won't change, right? Take that spoke, at least one or even a couple, measure what that spoke tension is with the brand new.
Right.
Write it down, put a little piece of masking tape around the spoke and write down what the tensiometer read.
Yep.
And hang it on the wall and leave it sit there. Do not ride it, just let it sit.
Yeah.
If you start to suspect that your tensiometer is out of alignment or calibration, thank you. Go over
the live show.
Go over and check those spokes.
Yeah.
The cool thing about the Park tensiometer is it's just an adjustment screw. You can actually dial it back yourself if you have a reference to use.
Right.
Right. So that's a really good way to do it on that. So,
I know what I'm doing when I get home today.
So there you go. So that's the best way to just kind of give you a ballpark idea. Or, of course, if you know the torque of something, if you know that something is gonna be a certain amount, you're not supposed to untighten it though, but you can kind of do that sometimes. Anyway, all right. I also have an off-topic question about wheels. What is the best way to fix a wheel that appears to have the hub not centered in the rim?
So we're talking wheel dish here?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it to replace the spokes and rim, or loosen the spokes on the short side and tighten the spokes on the long side until it is more balanced, or none of the above? I'm also a college lecturer and professional exam writer, so I'm obligated to throw in multiple choice questions. Okay, so just make sure your rim is not necessarily, I don't know what you mean by it's not centered into the rim. Your rim should be centered to the hub lock nuts, not the hub shell flanges.
Right. This was something I learned with the first wheel I built.
Yes.
With you, Scotty D, and you showed me the difference.
Right, because the lock nuts is where it's going to sit in the bike. The hub shell is taking into account. We're talking rear.
Yeah.
Is taking into account the cassette space, right? So the shell flanges are going to be not going to be centered.
Not at all.
They will be on a front in general, except for disc brakes. I'm assuming I know Russ is a big triathlete, so I'm assuming he's not, doesn't have disc brakes. But a front, if you don't have disc brakes, you have rim brake front, then it's symmetrical, right?
Right.
The lock nuts are about centered. The hub flanges are about centered. But on a rear, it's not necessary. So if that's what you're talking about, because it looks not centered on the hub flanges, you're not looking at the right thing. So check out where it sits with the lock nuts. The simplest way to do this is to have a dishing tool. A dishing tool will tell you what's going on there.
I mean, it's practical. I wouldn't say the only way to do it, but I mean, first of all, dishing tools aren't that expensive.
No. And you can use a lot of things. You can make your own dishing tool, and it can still be highly accurate.
Right.
So it's not that difficult to get one. But yeah, get a dishing tool and learn how to use it and check the dish. We could go over how to dish a wheel. We should do that. I could even bring it up here and we could talk about it.
I mean, you know what? In honor of the upcoming Cyclocross Nationals being in Chicago, we could talk deep dishing wheels. We could go deep in the topic of dishing wheels.
You're like 3 levels deep, and you're like, I'm like, where's he going with this?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this since the announcement. How do we work Chicago into the show?
But
sorry,
so
deep dish wheels.
To redish a wheel, Russ, is essentially what you said. You will tighten one side and loosen one side until that rim re-centers on the lock nuts.
Right.
But make sure that's the lock nuts that you're looking at. But you're talking about basic dishing 101 with that kind of stuff. So, yep.
And then he ends up with
third question.
Keep up the good work, guys.
Well, no. All right, so keep up the great work, guys. I really appreciate being able to pay for my WAP membership in one lump sum instead of monthly. We didn't mention that. Yeah, you don't have to subscribe monthly.
Right.
If you want to pay one lump sum, go to Wide Angle Podium, become a subscriber or a donor, and off you go. So
save all the financing fees.
Right.
Just one lump sum.
Yeah. He says he wants to support you guys, especially since I get so much out of it. All right, Russ, thank you so much for the question.
Yes,
all right, Mr.
indeed.
Dave Palan, are we going to do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, Scott and David and Dr. Tracy Berman.
If you're
still there. No, the police came. We had to release her.
This is
Scotty D was getting in trouble by having her hooked up in the basement for so long.
This is from Mark from Gloucester, England again.
Gloucester. You'll see why that's so much funnier later on in this question. Yes. Following the recent Torque-tastic episode,
wow,
I have more of a request than a question. Please, could you expand and comment on the use of grease, anti-seize, and thread lock on torque specifications, including the do's and don'ts of using these on threads? I've gotten into a habit of using a slight schmear, as I would say, a schmear of grease on the threads to prevent them seizing, which I suppose does affect the torque, remembering your comments and most of the force coming from friction.
Yes.
Should I stop? Should I adjust the torque? Or should I go away and rethink my life? I use grease because it's always in my toolbox, and I haven't ever bought anti-seize. If I may, I'd give a mention to Norbar torque wrenches. I've owned a few others over the years, and the Norbar is by far the best I've tried. Keep the great shows coming.
Hashtag.
Cross isn't just for winter, summer. Cross is coming. Mark from Gloucester, England.
Gloucester.
I know you know how to pronounce it, is what he put here.
All right. So it is true. Most of the force comes from friction, as we talked about, as far as we know.
And I will have you know that I did get this one in advance.
You talked to Dr. Tracy Berman just to get her input, too. Okay.
Yes. So this isn't coming just from the geniuses. It's coming from someone that uses real data.
It's come from someone who knows what she's talking about.
Yes.
All right. So what did she say?
No, I want to hear your answer first.
I think the best thing you said in here is, should I go away and rethink my life?
That wasn't what I said. I may have thrown that in if he.
No,
didn't
that's
say
what
it,
Mark said.
But Mark said that.
Yeah, you're overthinking. You're
Mark.
overthinking it, Mark.
Which is why we love you, because that's what this show's all about.
The truth is, there is no set standard in the bicycle industry that says always grease to measure your torqued bolts. That doesn't exist. Or don't grease to measure your torque. Neither one of those two things exist right now.
Nor is there ever a torque spec that is an absolute number.
Right. So that's why we get ranges. This is why we get ranges. And if you are greasing...
And some people are uncomfortable with ranges.
Yes, it makes them very nervous.
It does.
But
if you are, on the other hand...
If you are greasing your threads...
I'm at home on the range. Go ahead.
If you are greasing your threads and tightening and torquing to the low end of the range...
Yes.
You are going to probably be within the range every single time.
Right.
So there you go.
Yep.
That's the easiest solution, except very occasionally, if you actually sit and read the microscopic printing on manufacturers' materials that are included with some parts, sometimes somewhere in there, it will tell you, right, in Japanese, it will tell you that this torque number is measured with grease or oil on the threads, or it's measured with dry threads.
Right.
But not always. In fact, almost never. But sometimes it will say that.
Okay. So you ready for the real answer?
Go ahead.
Dr. Tracy Berman says...
That could be a new segment.
That could be a segment. The World According to Dr. Tracy Berman. Dr. Tracy Berman says, That's it.
Okay.
I think that was her way of saying rethink your life.
Right.
No, she would found it a very interesting question, as she is a PhD material scientist and physicist. She started, of course, thinking about how would I set up the experiment to show the data to determine the answer. And she said, you know what, from a practical standpoint, it
can't
doesn't matter.
Right. But still, a good, interesting question, Mark. So thanks for sending that along.
Yeah.
And I hope everything is good where is he?
He's over in Worcester.
All right, Mr. David Palan. I think we're going to have to stop there since we're at 90 minutes. And if people want to get in touch with you via social media,
Mr. David Palan on the Instagram. It's the way to get me. And I'm also Mr. David Palan on Twitter. Those are the two that I check not as often as I do during the April CX challenge, but I do take a look at that, and I will get back to you.
Cool. And if you want to get a hold of me, Scott Dienbach, you can send email to bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
Bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
Or any tech questions, and we will get those on. If we didn't get to your tech question this week, we will try and get to it next time.
We have to put a little carrot on our paper here.
Where we stopped. We'll try to get to it next time, but keep sending questions. We always want more questions and need more questions. But if you want to get in touch with me, it is just Bike Shop at BikeShopCX. On Instagram is the best way. And if you want to message me, if I know you're a follower, I usually accept messages from anybody that I know is a follower and is a cyclist. So you can message me that way, or send emails to either one of us or to the show. So, all right, Mr. David Palan.
Yes, sir.
I think we're done.
And with that, the bike shop, she's closed.
All right, that's the show for this week. I hope this live format worked. It kind of worked for us. So
hey, I'm still over here.
We'll see how it goes.
Don't talk about me.
Mr. David Palan's still here. So, I hope everybody enjoyed that show. We will try and get our April CX Challenge winners on as soon as possible. So you guys will be contacting you soon. Keep sending questions to bikeshopshow@gmail.com. Get on over to Wide Angle Podium, wideanglepodium.com. Support the network. We really, really appreciate that. All right. I hope everybody is getting out there and riding, even though the weather here is terrible. I hope you are getting out there and riding. And if you are getting out there and riding, you know the drill. Be careful out there and take care of each other out there. And until next time, the Bike Shop is closed.